a short period of time, you know.
I'm sure you're aware that one of the things here, which, you know, we always try and encourage people to stay longer than just for the full moon party, because people are like, yeah, let's go to Koh Phangan, and they will literally stay one night and go to the full moon party and think that they've experienced Koh Phangan. So
yeah, right. Yeah, I know. But I think that, I mean, for all the crap that the full moon party gets, like I went last time I was there, and I've been to a few over the years, and I think it is an interesting thing to do. And it's not one party, you know, it's so many different parties, they're all going on at the same time. So if you're into this, then there's this. If you're into that, there's that, like that, you know, all that kind of thing. But there is so much more to Koh Phangan than that. I mean, that's the problem when a destination wraps itself around one particular thing. Then the danger of that is that people think, well, that's all that there is to it, and that's rarely the case. You know?
So could we almost call you, Stuart, like a professional traveller? Is that...
well, that would suggest I was actually making money, so probably not. But yeah, I was talking to Sam, my wife, yesterday, about like travel and that kind of thing, because it is really getting me down not being able to travel at all. I know that's, in the scheme of things, a minor problem, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, last year I went through KLIA 2 almost 50 times. So, I mean, it gets old, and I mean, going to some places that I used to really like, I'm not a great fan of what they have turned into. But in the same breath, because of how people are traveling now, it's such a rush. Some places have kind of dropped off the map, so they're still really interesting. Like I did a trip to Isan, when was it? Like February, I think. When I was in Korat, when I had the shooting there, and oh no, was it Khon Kaen? I can't remember, wherever the shooting was in February, and there was hardly anybody there. Like Western tourism-wise, there was almost nobody there. And it's like, dudes, this is, compared to Indonesia, it is so easy in Thailand. And yeah, it never ceases to do my head in. So, I mean, as much as some places are over-touristed or bearing the brunt of too many people, there's still plenty of other places to go that are well interesting. You know, I mean, you're talking even like on Koh Phangan for Bantai, Bangkai. I mean, most people don't go there. You know, I know you've got the backpacker places there and everything, but people are making a beeline for like Bottle Beach or Tongnapan or Hadrian or whatever, you know. And there's a lot more to the island than that.
Yeah, there certainly is. So what made you make the move to Indonesia for your current home base?
We were living in Bangkok, and then we were both doing, Sam and I were doing various different jobs, and then she got a job with AFP, the French news agency, and then they moved her. She became the bureau chief in Phnom Penh, so we moved to that, and then they transferred her to news editor in Jakarta. So then we moved to Jakarta for a couple of years. And during those years, I was still traveling quite a bit, and she was supporting me. Hey, mate, can you get my laptop, please, with the phone cable and bring it out right now, please? Thanks. Yep. But my laptop first. Sorry about that. My phone battery is about to go flat.
Okay.
So she was supporting me while I was sort of trying to build Travelfish. And by the time we're towards the end of Jakarta, Travelfish was enough that we were earning enough that we could just tick over. And so she took a 1 year sabbatical, and we decided to get out of Jakarta, and that was like 10 years ago. So, so there was no real rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's lots of, digital nomads or people that want to make a career from traveling or travel writing or travel videos. And
Yeah.
obviously at the moment, everyone's struggling. I mean, do you have to still find other incomes from other places?
With Travelfish, we've had some very good years.
Yeah.
And we've had some very ordinary years, not even counting this one. So when we've been doing well, we've employed quite a few writers, and we've made quite decent coin on the side. But then other years, we've lost huge amounts of money. So, I mean, I haven't had another real job in 16 years.
Okay, that's good.
I do. No, but I mean, Sam, my wife, has supported us in the lean years. I'll do a little bit of freelancing if I need, if I'm really, really desperate. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort this.
It's okay.
If I'm really, really desperate, but I hate freelancing because I hate dealing with editors.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that was one of the thinkings behind Travelfish, was that, well, we didn't really start it as a way to make a living. That was an accident. But I didn't want to have to write for other people. And I thought, well, if I can write for myself, I mean, I can string a sentence together, but I'm certainly not a professional writer by any normal kind of standards. And we figured, well, if you write enough stuff that's useful, then maybe we'll be able to make something out of it. So, so that has kind of worked out. I mean, obviously now is a not so good, but yeah. I mean, everyone's in that basket.
Yeah. And what do you think the future holds for you, or sort of this year? Are you sort of starting to think how Travelfish will go this year and the next year? Everyone's thinking a lot, I think, aren't they? So.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's very challenging. We used to make money a number of different ways. Like, I mean, nothing particularly unusual, but hotel reservations was an important part, and so that has like collapsed completely. And we're also membership driven, and that's really dropped off the map, because who wants to pay for a membership when they can't travel? So earlier it would have been like maybe mid-March or something, our traffic was down, but the site traffic was down about 85%.
Right.
And we used to do like 1.5 million page views a month, like that kind of. So it was a lot of traffic,
Yeah.
And so I'm like, holy crap, what am I going to do? And so it was this situation where I thought, my God, my business is dying. I can't afford to pay the cat. And so what am I going to do? But at the same breath, there was, because if you remember, like particularly March and April, where the quarantines and people getting locked down and everything were really quite severe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, there's all these people stuck at home as well, and they can't travel. And so I came up with an idea of which we called in the end Couchfish. And so what that is it's a daily newsletter that traces a fantasy itinerary through Southeast Asia. So it's sent out every day, Monday to Friday, and it's there's nothing in it that's not true. But sometimes it's like a composite of different experiences that I've had, over the years.
Yeah.
And so we're up to I'm writing day 50 at the moment, and I'm leaving Luang Prabang, but we've been up through Thailand and whatever. And so people pay for that. So, and has been earning some money.
Yeah.
But what's been more satisfying is the feedback, which has been people saying, I'm just so sick of reading about COVID and the madness in the States and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then I get this email. It's like 400 or 500 words of, oh, today we're in Pitsanalok and we're going to go and eat some crazy food and blah, 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 blah. And people are really digging it. So that's been like a silver lining, I guess, to a pretty frustrating time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we're looking at like 2 years minimum before we get back to any kind of real. I hate this new normal term, but getting back to anything like what it was before.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Bali, it's like, I don't know about Kopangan, but probably 3/4 of the hotels are closed, you know? And so there's tremendous numbers of people who are out of work, and there's all like repercussions from that. And when you read like industry talking heads who are saying, oh, we'll just turn it back on. And it's like, well, it's not that easy, you know? You don't just turn it back on.
Yeah.
Because people have left and gone to Java or Sumatra or whatever, gone back to the village. So yeah, I think it's going to be a long haul, and there's been so much concentration on how do we make destinations safe for tourists, right? Like all this talk about bubbles and all that kind of stuff. But to my thinking, that's really wrong-headed, and I think like the tourists should come last. And what the destinations should be thinking about is, how do we make this place safe for the people who live here, right?
Yeah.
For the locals. Because then once it's safe for them, then we can start talking about tourism, rather than trying to make these little artificial bubbles of you know, high 5-star hotels or whatever all over the joint. I mean, that's not going to help, you know, just low-level family-owned businesses and that kind of stuff. And so it's all a bit kind of screwed up. I mean, here in Indonesia, it's a mess. I mean, at least Thailand seems to have a bit of a handle on it. But yeah, it's interesting times.
It is, yeah.